So at the end of the last one, it's revealed that the bomber from
the guy set the IED.
Yeah. I can lead us into that.
All right, good.
You guys ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Or have we already been rolling? Oh, yeah, edit that heavy.
The whole thing that the book we're going into now, I mean, what we've seen now is we've had the sit down. We sort of know, as much as we hate it, we know that Megatron's got a point. We know Zeta's a bad guy. We've gotten a whiff of Nion, and what we realize is it's not a nice place. We realize there's another force in there. So you got the autocracy, you've got Optimus and his team of familiar characters that we like. You've got the Decepticons, and then there are the other guys, and they're the Nionian freedom fighters. And we're going to find out that they are led at a very practical level by a character we're extremely familiar with. And
yeah, I think at the end of chapter 4 there, Zeta very clearly reveals in a hologram, like, hey, the guy that bombed you in the first chapter is this kid named Hot Rod.
Yep.
I remember talking about this character very early on in the process of us jamming this outline.
Right.
That we know we wanted a character that could illustrate,
the desperation of the citizens of
people
Nion.
pushed to the brink of what they can stand, that are finally, taking up arms against their oppressors.
And the oppressors is the autocracy. They're not thrilled with the Decepticons, but it's the autocracy.
Right. Well, and the fact that the Decepticons get bolder and bolder starts to create a climate where people all over the place are like, hey, we don't necessarily hold with Megatron, but he's not all wrong. Seems to be getting results, and the whole process just becomes this
a totally
cyclone
toxic
of
environment.
bad decisions. Yeah.
Yes.
So the idea of personifying this tension or this this desperation in a very rooted character, a very familiar character, started to feel very important to the two of us. And when it came up, I don't remember which of us hooked it, but the idea of using Hot Rod was at once kind of crazy, like too crazy to consider, and exactly right.
And we realized it was exactly right.
It was just this crazy kind of moment.
That's exactly his background and why he was always different.
Because what do you think of Hot Rod? He is the Luke Skywalker of the Transformer, especially relative to the animated film.
He's a daredevil and all, and all that stuff. I mean,
he wants to go to Tosche Station and pick up power converters, right? Like he's brash.
Yeah.
He's mega. He pulls off really heroic shit, but sometimes he makes mistakes. Hey, he got Prime killed in the animated film, which is funny. You had said a number of times after all these years, you wanted to do something like a web redemption for Hot Rod.
You want to redeem the guy.
Yeah,
well, because what you realize is, at a certain level, Hot Rod is a guy who really felt like he was probably going to be destroyed in Nion, and he was never going to make it out of there. And
What's that like?
He's the only character that comes out after this whole thing that is such a daredevil and takes so much risk because he feels like he's got anything he has in life now is gravy. He's the only one that's seen just truly desperate times of being run down. You don't think about him that way.
It makes me think, relative to projects like this where we can kind of speak our mind or whatever and look at these ideas from a community level. We're both fans. Like I'm a Transformers fan, and I get broadly what a lot of people might feel or might think at this kind of turn. And it's kind of that strange space of like, are we being respectful with the idea? Are we going to piss a lot of people off? There could be a lot of emotional fallout, right? We already saw in episode 1 just making Orion 15% more Dirty Harry because he literally, they ripped his heart out and he's not thinking right.
Yeah.
It produced a strong emotional reaction. That was amazing to me to watch that happen. I'm like, whoa, we were just telling the story. It's a part of the story. It'll play out, but like this Hot Rod thing is a much more, you might say, a radical choice. And I think it's these kinds of things that energize me most about this project. Because again,
it may totally make sense. If we're doing it gratuitously,
when you see it over the arc of it,
something else.
Right.
But what's funny is it doesn't matter which of us came up with it because we knew the second we'd hit on it, it was right.
Lightning is arcing across the room.
We knew it was correct.